Hello, welcome to Propulsion Gel. I have yet another episode of Opus Magnum here today, and we're going to look at a few more puzzle solutions. One of them is actually just one cycle behind the current world record, so that one is so close. That one's really cool. So we'll start out with that puzzle, which is Health Tonic right here. And so I have, as usual, 3 solutions for this one, all focused on sort of different aspects. The first one is the first solution I came up with, and this is definitely, a noob's interpretation. So this is the first one I came up with, and it's pretty slow. And it could probably cut down a lot on the area as well. I think it did pretty well on cost. Yeah, cost and area is decent. So it's a decent solution. That's a good start. I'll just jump on up to the next one. So I wanted one that looks cool, as usual. So this is the fancy looking one. And it is pretty fancy. It's got a lot going on here, and it's pretty quick as well. So we have this nice wheeled long arms, and that's necessary just for the placement of these binders that I have up here. And it was kind of challenging, actually. Eventually I figured it out, but first, the best way I could get this, what element is that? Let's check. Vitae. Yeah, so the only way I was able to get that Vitae up there was actually using a track like this. And the timing actually works out really well. So here's the coating for all those arms on the track. And it worked out perfectly with just 4 arms on here. And then by the time, this one gets all the way back around, it's got time to pick up the next one. Exactly how the wheeled arm works, except they have a little more flexibility of motion as they go up there, which certainly takes away from the cycles just a tiny bit. But it does look really cool, which, that's often more what I'm going for. So let's go ahead and watch it. Yeah, so that one is pretty fast. So on the cycles there, we're at 31, and in the first bin there. So that's really solid. A way to make it faster is this section right here. And that's mostly unnecessary. You can just kind of bump things up. But again, I wanted something that looked cool. So in the next one, we actually eliminate the track here. Figured out how to get the spacing really good with these longer wheeled arms. And then that also cuts down on these guys here. So most of the wasted time in this one is right at the start. So you'll notice, right? Boom, boom, boom. That's a lot of wasted time. And then immediately after that, we just start turning in the products. Yeah. So if we can cut down on just getting the regions where they need to be, then ultimately we can really cut down on the cycles, which is what I have here. So bare bones fast. This one is literally bare bones compared to that last one. And definitely terrible area here, but that's not what I was going for. I was trying to get it as fast as I could. And yeah, I managed to get the arm placement exactly as they needed to be to make it still work. there we go. And immediately, right, we don't have that wasted time at the start. And also the coding down here, right? It's really simple. Most of the work was just getting all these lined up. Yeah, so that's pretty quick, right? Except for that first part. So the last solution, had a lot of wasted time for that first part. This one, it just has one single cycle there on that first part. And interestingly, that's just enough to have us below the world record. So cycles 27, that's what we hit. And I was curious because I thought this was about as fast as you could go. So I looked it up, and I don't know how they did it, but someone has 26 cycles on this one. So maybe I'll keep messing around with it, see if I can figure out how they did that. I think one method might be having these wheeled arms on a track, maybe? I'm not sure. Because, we'd need to pick this one up as soon as possible. So I have 2 open cycles there. And that's the only way it would make sense that 27, because we're having these repeats. So there's just one missing cycle. I'm assuming it's at the beginning somewhere, because then, boom, we already have that next one up there. And the only cycle the only repeat we don't have that is the very first one, because we have to wait, pick up that, bring it there. So there must be just one cycle at the beginning that can be eliminated. Yeah, we'll see if we figure it out. I'll let you know. Yeah. Alright, so that is all for Health Tonic. But I did some work on another one. Alright, so the next problem. Explosive Phial. And we'll start out with the simplest solution I came up with. And you'll notice this one has a new little binder, a new device right here. So the glyph of triplex bonding. And what this does is it makes a stronger bond between the fire atoms. So it's got this one right here, which it looks similar to that one. I tried using fire and salt on that to see if I could just get rid of that part. Doesn't work though. This is only for the fire atoms. And then I can also beef up that bond with this guy and this guy. So I'll just show you what that looks like. First we get that salt. And we start moving these guys into place. So there's the first bond. We'll rotate, get the second one. Move it down, rotate again, get that third one. So now it's got that nice orange and red in there. That's what we need for the product on this one. So we get that strong bond, and then we'll just hook on that salt there and then turn it in. There we go. Yeah, so this one's very slow, but very cheap. It might be the top percentile for cheapest. I can't think of a way to do it without having a track like that, just to move it enough to get all these things where they need to be. Someone may have gotten cheaper, but, look at that, right? That's really good on cost, even if it's not optimized. Like, that's really good. And actually decent on area as well, 18 area. Something interesting about the area is even if you have regions going over, like if you're moving them over empty tiles, that counts. So ideally for area, you reuse as much space as you can, which I do a fair amount of here, but definitely towards the end there, right, getting it over these two, that might be some wasted space. Yeah. All right, so that's the first one. Jump over to this one, which is kind of just a nice all-round solution. well-rounded in all regards. It's a little bit more expensive, but much quicker. And it's actually the same area, so this one's 18 as well. So that's the same as the last really cheap solution. Yeah. And I kind of like how this, the salt gets tagged on over that way. Yeah, so I tried to do pretty well on cycles, have this arm focus on the fire, and then that one can bring one over and also bring the salt over, and then we just turn it in. Last, but certainly not least, probably the grand finale. This one is pretty complicated. I think, you could make it faster. This one, I believe we're at like 65 cycles or something. It's pretty quick. There's certainly ways you could cut down on the cycles, but an interesting technique that I used here that I haven't actually tried before is because we get 2 fire atoms at the start, put them on either side, and this is just symmetrical. So this right here is the exact same as this right here. This one's just flipped around. It's just rotated 180 degrees there. And so they're each going to make their own product and then turn them in almost at the same time. I saw some other people do that, and I thought it was really cool. And also, if you notice the sound of those triplex bonding pieces, this one sounds really cool because it puts all of them in there around the same time, and it just sounds really cool. And then the coating looks very nice as well, just because we have the same thing repeated so much for each of these different parts. All right, so let's watch it. Yeah, so I really like the way that one sounds. And so 65 cycles, that's pretty solid. Certainly make it quicker, not even in the second bin, much less the top percentile. Look how tiny. If you can see it, it's probably pretty small on the YouTube screen, but there's just a tiny little bar right there. I can't even imagine how fast or how they managed to get that. So that's very few people managed to optimize the cycles on this one. So I probably won't get it there. I might be able to cut down a little bit. We will see. All right, so those are the solutions I wanted to go through today. Thank you for watching. I think this is some of my best work yet. I'm finally getting the hang of coming up with some very creative solutions here. Keep an eye out for what comes next. So if you thought any of these were really cool, make sure to leave a like. If you thought they were really boring, leave a dislike. And have a great day.